top with expansive sea views over St. Mawes, about 10 miles away. "You're not Mum. It's time to make it your own." "I'll think about it, OK? And now, if you're done criticising, I've got work to do." "And you think I don't?" Lowena's busy life revolved around her husband, her teenage son, and the myriads of volunteer organisations she was involved with. Nessa was granted a rationed 1-hour visit every Wednesday morning, because that allowed her sister to go straight into Polgarth afterwards and organise lunch for the Sunset Club. She could only imagine what the local seniors thought of her sister's benign dictatorship. "What's on the menu today?" "Beef stew and dumplings, followed by treacle tart with custard." Lowena rolled her eyes. "You'd think they'd appreciate something lighter when we're in the middle of a heat wave. But when I suggested quiche and salad with ice cream and fresh fruit for pudding, several of the committee members got very stroppy." "I expect they'd appreciate having a proper dinner put in front of them." "You're probably right." A hint of satisfaction sneaked back into her sister's voice. "I'll see you next week, but if you need anything before then, call me." For a second she could have sworn there was a shimmer of emotion in Lowena's bright blue eyes. Sometimes she sensed things weren't as perfect as they seemed under her efficient, capable surface. Nessa had never really taken to Anthony, her brother-in-law. Although maths wasn't her own strong suit, she didn't hold the fact he was an accountant against him, but he was pompous and terminally dull. Two characteristics she found hard to overlook. She adored her nephew, but Kit had morphed into a typical surly 17-year-old who spoke in grunts and wanted little to do with his aunt any longer. "I'll walk out with you." She grabbed a plastic bucket of cleaning supplies. "Here comes the sun needs cleaning before the new guests come on Saturday." "Why you pick such ridiculous names, I'll never know." "Because they're fun and different, and people like that." When their parents started out, they bought 6 older model caravans of varying sizes, which became Nessa's responsibility when she left school and joined them in the business. She'd lovingly repainted them in colours reminiscent of her favourite ice creams and maintained them to a standard that frequently surprised visitors. The names were a homage to her favourite summer songs and covered everything from the Beatles to ELO. "Off you go and feed the elderly of Polgarth." Nessa waved Lowena off and wandered across the farmyard, stopping for a moment to soak in the sight of her little domain basking in glorious sunshine. It wasn't an easy life, but she wouldn't swap it for the world, although she would like to see more of that world one day. Ward managed a thin smile when the estate agent handed over the keys. After 2 interminable months of back-and-forth paperwork, Tregereth House and the 2 acres of land it stood on was finally his. "I'm thrilled for your sake it's been this fast." Peter Endine looked very satisfied with himself. He'd been horrified to discover the house-buying process in England routinely took this long and couldn't help thinking it was a conspiracy between the solicitors and estate agents to snatch even more of his hard-earned money. "I'm sure you'll be very happy once you're settled in your new home, Mr. Spencer." The idea that a house could make him happy put a huge burden on a pile of bricks. If this move brought him any small measure of contentment, Ward would consider that enough of a miracle. "Thank you. Are you definitely going to explore taking in bed and breakfast guests once you've done the old place up?" "Yeah, I think so, or something along those lines anyway. I've been looking into what it takes, and there are a lot of legal hoops to jump through first about changes to the property and my work status, but I reckon I can pull it off." He'd travelled to Cornwall on a whim to see the area where Bill Tremaine, his 6 times great-grandfather, was born. The miner fled to America in the mid-1800s when the industry collapsed in Cornwall and ended up in what was known as the Copper Basin, a triangle of land covering parts of Tennessee, North Carolina, and Georgia, never returning to his homeland. Something about the remoteness, the stunning rugged coastline and the slower pace of life had nibbled at the edges of Ward's tension until the wild idea of staying on crept in. He'd checked out a few properties online, but when he was wandering around the centre of Truro one day, his eyes were drawn to a photograph of Tregereth.